the band sounded amazing. But multiple times I've been with legends, around legends, and going through an identity crisis or thinking that I'm not good enough or, I remember one night I was in Japan at the NHK Jazz Festival. It was the 70th anniversary of Blue Note Records. I'm there. They make me sing with like Benny Golson and some other jazz legends. They decide to do Night in Tunisia, but in its original key, which is way too high for me.
Hey, welcome to the Monique on the Mic podcast. I'm your host, Monique B. Thomas. This show is your go-to resource for professional and aspiring singers. Every Monday, join me for solo episodes and insightful interviews where I share real artist stories, practical strategies, and mindset shifts. Whether you're just starting out or already on your journey, you'll find the tools you need to transform your vocal path and feel supported. I keep it real, I keep it funny, and it's always useful and up to date. Let's get into it. I'd like to welcome everybody, please, China Moses. Hey, China, how you doing?
Hey, Monique, I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I'm doing great. I'm sitting here in the garden of my best friend's apartment and taking advantage of her guest room and living life and doing concerts. I'm in good health. The whole family's in good health.
Okay. Now, are you in Paris? Because one thing I know about you is you move a lot.
Yes, I'm in Paris right now, but I leave tomorrow. I leave tomorrow morning to go to Munich.
Okay. Now, are you, at one point I know you were living in the UK, but I think you moved back or...
Yeah, I was in London for almost 4 years, until, the Thanos snap happened and I lost my apartment.
Oh my goodness.
There's no renter's protection in the UK. So like if your landlord is like, hey, in 2 weeks, I need my apartment back.
Wow.
Gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow. They have to say they need it for whatever reasons, but they can kind of kick you out quick. So it was in the middle of the pandemic, and I went to go stay with my mom in New Orleans because I didn't know if the world was ending. And then since I lost the apartment, I had some great friends in London who moved my stuff. Like, those are special kinds of friends. People who help you move when you ain't even.
Oh, wow. They moved your stuff.
They moved my stuff and put it into a truck that sent my stuff to Paris.
That's love.
While I was in New Orleans because I couldn't get. It was during the pandemic. It was during the lockdown, so I couldn't get there.
Wow.
And then I ended up in the States, hanging out with my mom. New Orleans is an amazing place to be. Even during the pandemic, it was amazing. And then we had a health crisis in my family, and that made me move to Brooklyn for a bit to help out. And I fell in love. And so I'm in Brooklyn. I'm half in Brooklyn, half in Paris. That's what it is right now.
Okay, wait. So now let me just backtrack. Not that I can't imagine nobody not knowing who you are, but just in case. And you tell me that this list is long. So, okay. Oh, singer, songwriter, radio, TV host, producer, voiceover artist. You've done videos, acting in TV, film, and theater. What did I miss? Because that list is long as I don't know what.
That was long.
It is long, and I want to talk about all of this.
I mean, I'm grateful, but that's long. I've had a long.
You did that.
I've had a life career.
You did that.
I'm doing it.
You did that.
Yeah. None of that. All of that is true. Yeah. They're never happening. Most of it's not happening at the same time, but that's all true. Yeah. I've done all those things and still do some of those things. Now I still have 2 radio shows. one in France on TSF Jazz and the other one on Jazz FM in the UK. I produce my own records, so I own my company.
Made in China, right?
Artist since 2000.
Made in China is your production company.
Since 2008. Yeah. I used to be signed to major labels, but that was when I was young and cute and fresh and new.
You still cute, girl, because you know black don't crack. You still cute.
Black don't crack. We still out here. But thank you. But yeah, all those things are true. But I come from very artistic people. I'm a fourth generation musician.
Okay.
And yeah, on my father's side, my father was a film and theater director. So let's just say that he knew how to get things done. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever tried to make a movie, but let me tell you, it's probably the hardest artistic project to put together, more than a live theater show. It's probably equivalent to like musical theater.
A lot of moving parts.
A lot of moving parts, and the length and the energy that's needed and the amount of people that are needed. So I've grew up watching him that. And he also held Russian class in our living room when I was a kid. You know, whatever. Okay, Dad. He was obsessed with Pushkin. Anyways,
it's interesting.
And yeah, so my father's name is Gilbert Moses.
The third, right?
Did, like, blaxploitation, blaxploitation movies, and you know, he plays with Archie Shepp. He made a theater company in the segregated South in his 20s. Like, he was active. And then Mom, Dee Dee Bridgewater, amazing icon and crazy, you know, just incredible,
force to be reckoned with
artist. Yes. So Ma, I mean, she moved to France with 2 kids, single, and very little to her name, except her name, and rebuilt her whole career and became the Dee Dee Bridgewater that we know now. There was a Dee Dee Bridgewater before then, of course, but everything that lots of people know about her is her with 2 kids in a country where she don't speak the language. So, you know, and she's been producing her records. So I've just been surrounded by hyper independent people. We ain't perfect. It's messy. The business is crazy. But I've been surrounded by adults who made the choice to live a certain life. Even if it meant less money, even if it meant not, you know, living somewhere else, even if it, like, people who did art with intention and chose art over everything, which can be difficult at times, but it, you know, it's kind of like a mindset.
Yeah. So, like, no compromise when it comes to your art. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, you try to compromise as least as you can, but you also try to do as much as you can. So if you got to be a bank teller in the day and do BBs at night and sing in the, you know, in a less than reputable club, so be it. You know, it's all going to lead to something. So I guess without knowing it, I was infused with that. And then I have, of course, my character, which is just hard-headed.
I think we have to be a little hard-headed in this business, though. You can't be a damn, oops, okay, here we go. You can't be a doormat.
There we go.
Yeah, I started it.
No, you can't. You can't. I mean, I was a doormat for a long time.
Really?
I mean, in the sense that I let a lot of people direct. Yeah. When I was young, I started at 16. When you signed a major label at 16 and people are throwing money at you, and they were, you know, they were hoping that I would be the next French pop star. Because this was in France. I got to France when I was 6.
Okay.
So, it, you know, you kind of like, oh, but I want to do this. I want to do that. We didn't have social media. I didn't have people to follow to remind me that I need to stand my ground, you know, that my ideas were valuable. And my mom, she kind of decided to just step away and just let me do my path. She did minimal interference in my life, my career. which, if in retrospect, I'm like, woman, really?
Right.
You could have avoided me so many things, but you just let me hit the wall so many times, and just was like, you okay? Okay, you're going to get back up and you'll figure it out. That was her energy about, my career. So I had to try different things.
Right.
And then also I'm just somebody who I'll try anything once. I don't think I may not be good at it, but if you think I won't be good at it, well, we gonna go do this and maybe I will be good at it, type energy. Yeah. So that's how I got to do the voiceovers. That's how I got to end up acting. Whether it was theater, whether it was in movies and, TV shows, those experiences were not experiences that I chased. Okay. It's opportunities and situations that came up and that I was just why not? Let's go. So that's how I ended up with so many things on my resume. But the main thing I've been doing my whole life is singing and writing songs. That's been the main thing. And then also simultaneously, I was doing the TV and radio. So the media part has never left me. That's not a weird thing for me. That's always been there. And the music part later.
So no. The one thing that I kind of pride myself on this show is that I've been told that I'm a good listener, because I never want to talk over people because, all of the artists that I bring to the show, you all are interesting. You have stories to tell. We want to hear those stories, because I have my own episodes where it's just me talking, so I can talk all I want by myself. But if you're here, I want to hear these stories. And you said so many things that, oh my gosh, my brain is like, which one do you pick up first? All right. So I want to pick up the fact that you have done so many things. You kind of already answered this, but it's just like, I know as a multi-passionate person, I call myself a squirrel. I see something like, oh, let me go do that. Oh, this is cool. Oh, wait a minute. There's something over there. Let me go do that. And sometimes I feel a little schizophrenic because it's like, I realize if I had more time, like if we had like 48 hours in a day, I would do a whole lot of stuff. I probably wouldn't sleep that much, but there's so much. And oftentimes I think traditional education, especially, and I've actually read about this, but I think, from the Industrial Revolution era, we're kind of formatted to do only one thing. We're taught that your value as a human in society is to specialize and do one thing. But as an artist, I'm realizing that it's kind of against our nature to only do one thing. Because when you're an artist, what is an artist? We express ourselves, we communicate that what we see and we process information and we want to communicate that. But the ways we do it are different. We communicate that. You're a lot like me, I think, in the sense you definitely communicate it with fashion. Because darling, why not? And so it's like, it would be weird to say, well, I'm only going to communicate it in this one little small arena, which is singing. It's like, no, you communicate it wherever it can be communicated and you feel like it's just an extension of you. You're just like a living, walking art piece.
Basically, we are the art.
Oh, I love that. So I think it's interesting what you said, because I was obviously going to ask what it's like to be the daughter of two icons, because people could say, well, she's only got where she got to because of, those names. But the fact that you said your mother...
And they will keep on saying it.
I always feel like, look, somebody might open the door for you. I think there's a lot of people talking about nepotism at the moment for a lot of good reasons. Nepotism has always existed and it'll always exist. But getting in the door and staying in the door are two different things. They're two different things. Opportunity. Why would you?
Because there's a lot of artists and there's a lot of babies of those artists. They are not making a living with their art.
Right.
Just got put there.
Of course. I mean, the truth of it is your career would not be as long and as vast and extensive. Like when I look at your career, what I see is, you know what? She's proven herself time and again. You don't have to prove yourself anymore. People trust you. They trust you. You can't do everything that you've done just by the name of your parents. That's just not, that's just not, and let's be honest, especially as a Black female.
Ooh,
that part.
So it's so important to highlight. Yeah, you can't. Of course, my mom's name gets me in so many doors. A lot of people know less of my father, but when they find out who my father is, they're like, "Oh my gosh," I have no responsibility for the fact that my parents.
Yeah, you didn't choose that.
That's on them. I didn't choose that. But the fact that my mom chose to kind of do her best to stay out, because my mom's a mama bear.
I get it.
She will go after people. She is just like, you try to mess with my daughter, like I will come for you. And so she had to curtail that for herself. She was like, this isn't healthy. I don't want my kids, and my mom has 3 children. So she's like, I don't want my kids to think that their life is not a life that they built for themselves. So how do I parent, but not be overbearing, not, step in too much. So she barely stepped in at all. She was there. Sure. I needed it, her. She's always just a phone call away, but she was just like, you got this. I remember bringing music demos home to my mom and her listening to it and her just looking at me like, okay, I mean, if this is what you really are feeling right now, I knew she thought that shit was shit. And she was probably right. But she never, she would suggest slightly. She'd be like, you're like, oh, is that done? Okay. Oh, are you going to rework it? Like she'd do that type of suggestion. As I got older, it became, no, I don't like this. But when I was a teen, she was delicate with me, in that sense. And it was hard, cause, when you're a young adult, you want direction, and you think you know everything, but you just actually want a cool ass adult to be like, hey, maybe try this. Right. Like just a little, but I didn't have that. So I explored. I had the liberty to explore artistically, musically, what I wanted to do. Even my label didn't know what to do with me. So I'm just like, I was just out there. So yeah, nepotism, it is real. There are some people that are in place because of who their parents are and what level their parents will go to bat for them and for their jobs and put them in places and talk about them and stuff. But we're all kids of somebody. Sure. Literally. And there's as many cases of, babies who are just put there, the people that literally got discovered by somebody and everything. And even when you are a child of, you need other people. Your parents are only so powerful. You need other people to believe in you. So my whole career, when I was signed as an artist to Virgin Records, and lined up to do pop, because what I wanted to do was pop music. I wasn't interested in singing jazz. I'm like, nah, that's old folk music. I want to be up in the club. Like, what y'all talking about? I want to be playing on major radio stations. I want to tour, I want to have a band with 10. Little did I know how hard that would be. But anyway, I had people who believed in me and went to bat for me who were not my family. And it takes so many people to get one person to where, to that spotlight. And a lot of people forget about that. Right. And they also just don't know. Yeah. And that's why we talk about it. Not to forget. I was raised not to forget about everybody and forget about that, and to know that you ain't special. We ain't special. What becomes special is the aligning of circumstances and the chances and the opportunities that be dropping out of the sky that people know how to grab and everything. It's so random. You always hear stories of like the big pop superstars who always wanted to be a star, and they worked tirelessly since they were 4 and blah, 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 and everything like that. Not all the 4-year-olds who wanted to be superstars and who had talent got there.
Yeah.
Like we focus so much on who is quote unquote made it that we don't look at everybody who's under that level. And I consider myself I fly under the radar. I call myself, I'm part of the crew of artists who are lifelong artists who fly under the radar.
I know what you mean.
And because I know superstars.
Right. I know you do.
I don't want that ever. And I decided that when I was young. When I was 18, I will always remember when I was 18, I went to an audition and I sat in a room and I looked around me and I was like, no, as a Black woman, no, that's not my fight.
Yeah.
It's just not my fight. It's not my fight, nor my desire. And I got things to do and I got friends that I want to see and I got places I want to go and projects I want to do that don't require such huge amount of rejection. Like being an actor, or, working in the world of musical comedy and stuff. It ain't for me.
Know thyself.
And I knew that about myself. Know thyself. Like literally, I sat up there. We're all equally talented. Like you look around the room with 15 beautiful Black women.
Talent
we're all equally talented. Just talent. Just
overflowing.
It was like it was like everybody's radiating gold. Everybody's so fucking beautiful. Everybody's talented. Everybody's gorgeous. And I went through the process. I got 3 callbacks. And every time I was sitting in this room with other beautiful Black women who were just as talented as me. And I'm like, this is not what I want to be doing. I don't want to be in a room where I am going up against my fellow person. Like, I don't want to go up against my sister. I mean, we can have friendly, competition. Like we can have, of course, that lifts us higher. It's like going to a jam session. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, what you got? Okay, bring it.
What you got? Okay, let me pick the right song in the right key, because otherwise,
that part,
your reputation be riding lightly. It's fun, but we all know, and that is beautiful, and I love that. But sitting down, waiting to get chosen to do 2 more lines in a commercial, in hopes that I will be, hey, girl. That's my best friend's husband. In hopes that that'll get me to a sitcom, that will get me to maybe a movie role, that will get me to, like even just as an actor, you'd see me in community theater, girl. I probably wouldn't go even further than that, and even that level is rough. So that energy, I couldn't deal with it. There was it's something that just, I just didn't have that fight. I
can dig that.
So
I can dig that, because you really are about the art on your terms. If I'm understanding you correctly, like on your terms, which has nothing to do with saying you're better than this person, or it's not a question of better. It's not a question. There's room. You just have to carve out your own little.
There is room for
niche,
everybody.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love this discussion.
There's room for almost everybody. Because not all of us make it. And I had to be honest with myself. Well, of course, I have the privilege of being able to look back because I've been doing this for so long. I've had a privilege to look back at some decisions I made. I was like, oh, that was actually me making a decision that we ain't doing that. We're not going that path. We're going down that path. I can clearly trace back the moments in my life that kept me from being in a constant competition. Because I'm sensitive. I come off as everybody's like, oh, you got your stuff together. You're so, outgoing, that I'm like strong and all these things and everything. I am so sensitive. Like, I am just like, I'm a Care Bear. Like, seriously, like, I still have trouble with the evil in the world.
Yeah. Well,
and I'm a grown human.
Yeah, but
who's seeing evil.
What artist is it?
But still, I'm just like, that was just that time. That was just that time.
But what artist isn't sensitive to a certain degree? You know what I mean? Like for me, the difference between people who live artfully and people who don't is how we process the things that we see. Like, we internalize stuff. We take some of this stuff really personally. And it might not even be somebody we actually know or have touched or smelt, but we take it really personally. And it's like, oh, I got to write a song, or I got to do a piece about this, or whatever it is. Like, what real artist isn't sensitive? Can I ask you a crazy question? What's your sign?
Oh, Capricorn.
You're a Capricorn. Okay, my mom was a Capricorn. What's your birthday?
January.
Oh my God, January 8th is my mom. Okay.
Oh, really?
She was something. You don't mess with.
Well,
very, very loyal people. Loyal about that business. Very much about that business. If you heard a Capricorn though, that's run. But it's only because y'all love hard. Y'all love hard. Y'all do everything to
loyal and
Oh wow.
Literally just so you can imagine that since I have such loyal characteristics built into my person, that being on a chopping block was not, it just wasn't for me.
I hear that.
Like, I've had people who have been part of my career, who, because I didn't sell enough records, would not say hello to me. I would go into a depression for a week.
That's hard.
It's, like, I've had to learn how to curb my emotions and my enthusiasm, because I'm hyper enthusiastic. And I've learned to protect myself. So my way of protecting myself is that I'll try anything once if the opportunity arises, if I feel comfortable, if the person seems genuine. But as soon as I see ugliness, that type of I will kill my own grandmother to get where I'm going energy, I'm out.
Gotcha.
I'm out with a smile. I might even do a joke, but you'll never see me again. And so many times in my career, I've done that. So many times. And sometimes when it's hard for me to pay bills, I'm like, girl, you should have just taken that job.
I know. But it's like,
what? But should I, like, really? Is that what it's about? Girl, you could have really you could have used some extra money right now. But girl, I just don't have it in me. I have amazing artist friends who are capable of doing jobs of people who are horrendous. Me, it sends me to my therapist on an emergency session. So we're just all built differently, and we have to accept that. Not all of us are built for the level of it's not even the determination and the drive, because if you're getting up on a stage, you have determination and drive,
Right.
period.
Yeah.
Full stop. If you've ever done it once, you got determination and drive, because that is an humbling,
Experience.
humiliating experience. Oh my goodness. So, but I have friends who I've seen who take the jobs that I would never
Right.
take. It don't bother them. They're built different.
That
and
is
that's
okay. And luckily, because
And I love them for it.
Somebody's got to do the jobs.
I can sleep on their
Right.
couches. Somebody's got to get the houses with the guest rooms. It's just not going to be me.
But I think that is so important to understand about oneself, especially in the scope of things where people tend to feel like work is finite and I got to take everything. It's like, no, you actually have to protect your soul a bit. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, if all you do is betray your soul, eventually your muse is going to dry up and they're like, yo, I'm out of here. You have not been protecting us. You have not been feeding us what we need. And I'm withering and dying. So I'm out. No more art for you. That's how I feel about it. You know, it's like, I found that protecting my soul became more important sometimes than putting money in the bank. And more recently, I've had some issues where, you know, I've said no to a lot of things because I'm like, that kills my soul. And so there's been a little bit of a lull, and I'm like, you know, I'm like you, I'm like, maybe I should have said, but I'm like, girl, you know better. Because I know me, if I say yes to things that don't honor my morals and how I move through life, I'm going to show up and I'm going to be a bitch. I'm going to have an attitude. And I don't believe I'm serious. I'm just being honest. I'm going to have an attitude. Look, I'm almost 50. I'm going to have an attitude. And I don't think that's fair. I feel like
I've never seen you with an attitude. I can't even.
Listen. Okay, I just turned 49.
Oh my goodness.
People, I'm a sweet person. I really am. And I prefer to be that way. But if I'm from Philly, you come for me.
That's right.
I'm
you
from
are
Philly.
from Philly. Oh my goodness. No, that's right. People shouldn't.
They shouldn't. And
they shouldn't.
And the thing is, when people come for me and I'll give them back their money with change. I mean, $50 bills if we need to. I'll give it back. But at the end, it harms me because that's not how I want to move through life. I don't want to move through life that way because I am also very sensitive. I want to meet people where they are. I want people to meet me where I am, respect, just say, okay, you know what? Outside of, you know, things like racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, all those things, I can say, okay, I see that you think things differently, and that's okay outside of those things. Because if it's those things, we have nothing to talk about. I'll be honest with that. But I feel like it's better for me to say no when I get that feeling in my gut, like somebody else come with me and they'll give me a proposition, and I start getting this feeling in my gut starts to, you know, tighten, and I'm like, no, I can't take this job. I can't take it. I'm not going to be able to show up and be my best self. I'll show up and I'll have an attitude. And that's not fair for the people. Because if I said yes, I'm saying yes to the contract, then I'm also supposed to be saying yes to show up at my best. And if I can't show up at my best, I don't want to show up at all. I don't show up at all. But I'm glad to hear you say you've never seen me. This is not like.
No, you're awesome. You're so welcoming and
I try to be
and knowledgeable and talented and everything. But yeah, it's like we're very few Americans in Paris.
We all know each other.
Okay. We all know each other or know of each other in some sort of way. That already for me was kind of like a sitting room where like everybody, like, so I couldn't fully, like sometimes our dear homegirl Crystal would be like, you never show up to the hangs and everything. I'm like, cause sometimes I feel like it's like sitting in a waiting room to be chosen.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And everything. I support from afar. I put people on, like people, you know, when that private gig shows up that you can't do because of timing, whatever, I'll be like, here's a list of Americans. You know, like you can choose. And I've always been, and I think it's because my mom's a loner, kind of, that I have that loner energy. But just knowing yourself, knowing your limits is probably the biggest part of learning your art. Because then you know what rooms you can put yourself in. You know what situation you can put yourself in. You know when you're not going to be grumpy. You know? And one of the big questions that vocalists have, no matter where you're using your voice, is how much is the money worth? How much is the money actually worth? If this gig that is like, okay, say you get a private gig that comes in and they're just like, yeah, it's 20,000 euros. Amazing.
Yeah.
I need it.
I'll take it.
I need it. But it's on a private yacht with a shady freaking billionaire who is rumored to have people that be in weird situations.
Pedophile type stuff. No. Yeah. You can't attach yourself to that.
I have friends who have gone for it and done it and have had a ball and are perfectly fine. Me, I've turned those things down. Do I hit myself? Do I kick myself and be like, girl, grow up. The world is ugly. The world is not fair. Like, do I beat myself up after when I'm just like, man, this phone bill's kind of high, you know? When I'm just like, girl, you could have taken that 20 and done that. And somebody will call me stupid. And that is their right to. And maybe I am, but listen, I can sleep.
Yeah. You got to be able to look at yourself in the mirror. And the only person that looks at you in the mirror when you look in the mirror is you. You know what you did.
Yeah. And that's something I've never really talked about. Like, you asked me about what things that I don't get to talk about. I've never talked about the opportunities that I passed up and why I passed them up and how I enjoy my sleep.
Yeah.
I really do. I really enjoy having a good reputation. I really enjoy my name being spoken in rooms by people that I don't even know, but they're speaking my name because I have a good reputation. Because there's nothing shady or weird attached to me.
Gotcha.
I enjoy that. Like, really. You know, and yeah, there are people who have great, amazing careers and make incredible money with that same kind of reputation. Does it happen to us all? No. I grew up in a hyper talented family. No, nobody in particular. It's kind of like lately I've been using the example of Samara Joy.
Love her.
When you see her on tour,
not
worried about her 1 second.
No.
At all. Not. But when you see her on tour with her family, it could have been anybody. But it's her.
But aren't you
But it could have
glad
been anybody.
Because she's, that could not have happened to
I'm
a
so
better
glad.
person.
A better
my
person.
Lord.
So sometimes it does happen. And actually, if you really start digging, it does happen a lot to very good, kind-hearted, cool, talented artists. If you hold that group of people in mind and you look at how many they are and you still look at how many cool, kind, talented, hearted people who have been trying to get that break and everything, I find comfort in knowing how colossal that number is. We're not all going to make it.
Well, not it.
That's one thing my mom told me. She's like, we're not all going to make it.
Especially not in the same way.
That's rough to hear when you think you're cute.
When you know you cute.
Couldn't tell me nothing.
No.
I was 16, couldn't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
I had my eyes on a dress that I wanted to wear that my mom did not want me to wear because it was too form-fitting. And I was like, I'm getting that dress. And I did. I got that dress, wore it on my 18th birthday for the release of for the finishing of celebration of my album, my first album. You know, But thankfully, my mom told me we're not all going to make it. Thankfully, my mom's friend showed me we're not all going to make it.
Right.
And that's okay.
It is okay.
And that's all right. Not what is making it. It's a whole thing. Like, your idea of success is going to be different than my idea of success, artistic success. I see friends that sell millions still of records. Millions. I have friends who play in front of 20,000 to 30,000 people regularly. I got to play with a symphony the other day, and they played my original music in Austria.
That is something.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Let me go. But like, what happened over there? Girl, like my song that I composed probably drunk in a bathroom somewhere, humming into my phone, played by a symphony orchestra with the musicians of this orchestra coming to me being like, I really like this song. Oh, I really like this sentence. I really like this part of the melody. I'm good. I'm really
This
good.
is so exciting because I think for the younger, or not even just younger, but up and coming singers who probably still have in their idea that you're either a superstar like Taylor Swift or you're a struggling artist eating ramen noodles, right? And they don't talk about the everything in between. And so having you come on there, because your career, one could do a fourth of your career and it would still be a success. And
I've done so much stuff.
No, I'm just saying, I think if we juxtapose these two conversations, the one that there's so much in between. There's not just one way of making it. And the other part is that when you say not everybody's going to make it, I think the answer to that question is, well, what is making it? And deciding for yourself what making it is. And for you, it seems like, and you can correct me or add to this if I'm wrong, making it is being able to do art on your terms. Because you're under the radar. And I just talked about, Bastion, Pico, Oris. I
love Bastion. He's so talented.
Uber talented.
That human is.
We talked about this last week on the podcast, episode 35. And we were talking about the fact that it's great not necessarily to be famous, because I'm like, I like to pick my own tomatoes. I don't want nobody picking my own tomatoes because I love tomatoes. And so I don't want to be famous. I want to be able to pay my bills. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to do what I want to do and play with great musicians and be in places and play with people that are going to help me grow. That to me is success. For me.
You just laid it out.
That's it. That's it. And it's like, that's so cool. So everybody doesn't have to be, because when you think of a Taylor Swift, and I'm not taking whether I like her music or not is neither here nor there, but there's bills to be paid in the fact that when you're at that place, there's things you cannot do. Or you can do them, but it ain't gonna look good. It ain't gonna be cute.
Exactly. Living your life as a constant, with a constant fear of what others are going to think or what it's going to come up, especially with social networks. I'm so glad I was born when I was born, and, that I'm 46 and that I'm not starting my career now, because social media keeps you from making the mistakes.
Right.
Like, I've made so many mistakes. I'm so glad there wasn't social media. There's some songs I've sung and things I've done. I'm so glad nobody has document of that. I've been off key, like majorly off key. Now, I'm not a singer who, depending on what mood I am in my life, if I'm in my, I don't drink, I only drink water, and I go to sleep at the right time, and I work out, because I do have moments where I'm like that. And then I do have moments like, oh, let me go sing. like I'm just going to take a last pull on the cigarette, throw it out before going on stage. I am extreme. That's who I am. I'm so glad there are moments that people don't have that documentation.
Right.
I was allowed to make mistakes. Art in an artist, way. I was allowed to do weird stuff that was just really weird. And it was like, there is no way this is connected to somebody. Like, this is not good.
It was a good idea when I did it, but it was it?
Yeah, I thought, no, yeah. I mean, and what a beautiful way to live your art and grow through your art and learn through your art than being able to make big mistakes and nobody caring about it. No, and not staying there for the rest of your life.
A stamp on your back
type energy. I can reinvent myself.
And shouldn't we? Nobody's just this one.
If you want
nobody's just this one static thing. I mean, if you're living and breathing and eating and farting every day is different. And so if you add that up to 365 days, every month is different. I mean, and especially if you're an artist, that means you're sensitive to things. That means you process things with a hypersensibility. You are not the same. I mean, we can get on a plane and go to another country and just see a different landscape and just not be the same. So how do you expect an artist to just be the same?
It's just not possible.
It's not possible. It's not even logic. It's not logical.
It's not logical. And then we just have our own sensitivities and our own thresholds, and you just got to acknowledge them and accept them. And I mean, don't be an asshole about it. I really have trouble with people who are just disrespectful to other humans. Like you always have that hyper talented friend who's rude as fuck. I'm just like, nah,
you don't have to be that way.
Rude.
Yeah.
You can be weird, but you don't gotta be rude. Be weird. Be socially awkward. Not a problem. You need to walk around with that parakeet in this club? Please. Go for it. Homegirl, like Napalm from Hiatus Coyote showing up with a damn parakeet, her darn bird all the time.
Okay.
Go for it, sis. Kindest human. He is so sweet. That human is so cool. So talented. She needs her more emotional support bird.
Emotional support bird. Yeah.
Like now it's cool. When Hiatus Coyote first showed up, people are like, you got tattooed? What is going on? Like, they were judging.
Yeah.
Now they'll call it brilliance because they're successful and they've done it over and over again. They were like, we are a weird, brilliant jam band with time signature changes and y'all are going to love it. Or if you take somebody like, my gosh, I love her so much. And I see her face like Brittany Howard. Brittany Howard from Alabama, who was in the Alabama Shakes. Like, they were like, no, you're not black. And she had to do a song about it. She made this incredible song where she's talking about the racial situation her parents went through and what she saw happen to her parents who were black and white, what they put up with. That song is so raw. And people are just like, is that a man or a woman? Or what is going? It's like, is she don't care. Sweetest person. Like, people will judge on stupid stuff. They'll judge on who you choose to date. They judge on your sex. They judge on everything. It's this like, be your most inner, do whatever you need to do to protect yourself when you're out in the outside world, because the outside world is rough, but you don't gotta be rude.
No, you don't.
I don't deal with rude.
I love that.
Well,
because
at all.
I feel like
I'll leave the table.
Yeah, he's like, you done left this conversation at least 3 times already. No, but I love that because I feel like this social media has made it easy to be publicly judgmental. And it's perverse because the more we judge others, you can be sure that we're judging ourselves worse, which means that we're not allowing ourselves to fully be and explore, You never know. Like, I'm sure with all that you've done, and you said you got opportunities, things that weren't on your radar, that you were like, you weren't waking up thinking, I would love to do this thing, but this thing came across your desk and you got the chance to do it. You're like,
I didn't know I wanted to be a Disney princess.
But we needed a black Disney princess.
That wasn't on my bucket list. And thank you to the incredible Anika Noni Rose, because when I heard the original, when they asked me to be the French Princess Tiana, I was like, I can't sing this song. Like, I was like, I can't sing that. Like, she's sustaining notes. Y'all heard me? Oh, y'all think I'm trained? No, I'm not. Like, everybody always thinks that my mom trained me that. No. My mom didn't even play music at home. She's like, I need quiet.
Oh, wow.
Y'all will enjoy the sounds of, she's like, you will enjoy the sounds of the trees and the birds.
Okay. So kind of her self-preservation, because she did and does music to the highest degree. She comes home, she's like, nope, birds and bees.
She's like, I'll listen to whatever y'all are listening to.
Okay.
Oh, we doing Bobby Brown? Let's go. We're doing Rage Against the Machine? Let's go. Like, she just listened to whatever her kids listen to. Of course my mom loves music. Yes. Of course there's stuff she listens to, but my mom is not at all the person who, stands around, washes the dishes and like, come over here and start singing a song and we harmonize and enjoy.
Okay.
Nope.
I
don't know how to harmonize because
that is okay. Now, your mom's not here, and I don't want to spend too much time because I want to give you your flowers while you're here. But I have to say that I find what you've said about your mother very interesting, and I find very astute, because it seems like the information she gave you in a very how should I say this? In a non-direct way. So, in other words, she allowed you to make your mistakes. She allowed you to explore. So, because she knew that is such a huge part of becoming who you are. You can't know until you've touched so many different things. Like, you can't say, I don't like that if you've never done it. And, getting to the good art, you got to go through the bad art. And I say bad art. I don't really mean bad art, but just unfinished or, lack of direction, lack of structure, whatever. You know what I mean? And so it seems like in two ways, by not getting overly involved, she allowed you to be who you are. But also at the same time, she got to show you firsthand what it is to be a black badass singer. So, you know what I mean? Like, very, very subtle and yet extremely powerful way of parenting. Because then look at you. Now I have to.
And my brother's the same, and my sisters and my older sisters.
So there you go. So that means it's, she's doing something right. Now I have to tell this story. I met your mother, and I know I've told you before, so please, I'm sorry. This is for the audience.
No, please, share.
I met your mother probably 1997, around there. She was at, not the Blue Note, what's the other club in New York? Anyway, it's one of those famous jazz clubs, and she was playing.
It's the Jazz Standard, Birdland?
Not Birdland, no, not Jazz Standard. Lots of albums were recorded there, and it's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't think of it.
Village Vanguard?
Thank you. Okay, so
I'm like, let me get the buzzer.
So.
Village Vanguard.
My friend, and he's actually the reason why I wound up in France, Manu Marches, who's a French jazz bass player, friend of mine.
Yes.
I was in William Patterson University in their jazz department, and we met and we became really good friends. And he's like, hey, Dee Dee Bridgewater is playing. I'm like, who? He's like, Dee Dee Bridgewater, come on. I mean, he's French, so obviously he knew. And so I go to see her, and I'm just like, okay, pick your face off the floor. Come on, you're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. And I think we came back the very next night. And I hung around at one point to talk to her because I was magnetized by her power. I mean, my mother was a very strong, Capricorn strong Black woman. You know, she moved through the world in a way that people knew when she walked into the room. It's like, okay, and your mother had that. And I had, by this time I had already lost my mother. So I was always looking for women who embodied that. And so I saw your mother. I'm like,
yeah,
that's the kind of singer I want to be. I want to be the kind of singer that just commands the stage. There's no questions when she goes on stage, and you're like this too. Anytime anybody might see you for 1 second, they might have any doubt. Doubts are all quenched. No more doubts. You know who's running this ship, right? But it's not overbearing. It just is, right? And so I hung around.
Yep. That's what we do.
I hung around to talk to her because I like, how do you do it? Because I get so nervous. Like at that point, I would get on stage and, you know, my legs be shaking, my knees be knocking. Of course, then the voice follows with it. And it was just a hot ass mess.
Yeah.
And she's like, you just get up and you go up there and you do it. And you get up and you go back up there and you do it. And you get back up and you go back up there and you do it. And I'm like, well, that's simple. I was thinking of like there was some magic voodoo or something. She's like, no, you just get your butt up there and you go back up there and do it. And you just keep going back up there and doing it.
That sounds like such a thing my mom would say to a budding artist.
That's what she said to me.
But that's how she parented me.
But and it worked but she gave you the blueprint. You know, what she said, it's not like she said that and then she would go up there and be lukewarm on stage. She said it, but she walked the walk, talk the talk. So you had proof that that's what that is, you know? And I had to tell that story because I do feel like every little incident or meeting they shape you. And that did shape my mindset. I mean, I wouldn't say it was like immediate, like, you know, like a musical therapy. It's like I went up there and it was perfect. It's like, no, but in the back of my mind, that was driving me like, you get back up there. You get back up there. You don't just, you know, curl in a ball and just, oh, I can't do this. You get back up there.
You won't have a career if you curl up in a ball.
You get back up there. So, you know, I love that story because that was a big deal for me because, you know, a major icon, I got the chance to talk to her and, you know, that I held that piece with me for so long, you know?
Yeah. I remember one time, I was well in my career, but still struggling with my confidence of who I am and what my talent is. I don't have that much struggle anymore. Not that I say that I know who I am, but I know I'm good on stage. I know I'm not the greatest technical singer, but give me a stage. I'll make it work. Give me a song, even out of key. Even a key that I not normally can sing. I know how to make things work. And I've had so many muck-ups in the past that I've learned how to make those things work. So I have the grace of time. I have the grace of still being living, but I always remember one moment. I was at the Philharmonie of Paris, and for some bizarre, wild ass reason, I ended up on this project that Terrence Blanchard does which is Terrence Blanchard, Spike Lee, and Terrence Blanchard, the movie music of Spike Lee. And it's a project that he does with symphony orchestras around Europe and even in the States. And he always has multiple singers and everything like that. And that particular concert, the other vocalists were Angelique, Kidjo, and Diane Reeves.
Take my breath away.
What am I doing here? What am I doing here? What am I doing at the Philharmonie de Paris with Diane Reeves and Angelique Kidjo? Somebody, please. What am I doing here? Why am I not just sitting in the audience enjoying myself? Like what? Let alone Terrence Blanchard and the whole band and everything. So Terrence gave me for that show, the Shaka Khan song. If You Love Me So. If you, gosh, what's it called? I need to Google. Oh wait, Shaka Khan. It's a beautiful ballad. Here's a heartbeat, here's a heartbeat.
It's not coming to me.
If you love, Do You Love Me Still?
Okay.
It's called. Do You Love Me Still? It's on the, I forget what soundtrack. Anyways, it's a beautiful ballad. A song that she wrote with Bruce McCartney.
Ooh, yeah.
Gorgeous. It's not a demanding vocally, it's not a octave song. It's an emotional thing. And I'm standing there freaking out because I'm used to having loud drums and I can run around stage. It's like, what, you asking me to be still? This is not in my toolbox. Like, we don't do still. We don't do. There's a reason why I don't sing a lot of jazz. I mean, even though I do enjoy singing ballads and I feel comfortable singing ballads, but that's not what I do. That's not what, And I'm standing there, I'm freaking out. And Angelique was to my left, Diane was to my right. And I'm just like, they call out my name. Terrence says my name. It's like, here's China Moses with the rendition of the song. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I audibly said it. You know, when you say something to yourself and it comes out, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what am I doing here? And Angelique just elbowed me and she was just like, you're here. And I look at Diane Reeves and she's like, girl, get over yourself. You're here. Wow. There's a reason why you're here. So please go sing the song and just get over yourself. Oh man. I went and I sang the song. I didn't do too bad. It wasn't great. It wasn't one of my best performances, but I'm here. What are you going to do about it? You going to beat yourself up for being here? Right. Or are you going to try and do the best that you can and have fun? I will always choose the latter because I always have those moments where I'll be standing next to greatness. Right. Like I got a bad review one time and simultaneously I was going on tour with Pee Wee Ellis. And for those who don't know who Pee Wee Ellis is the guy who co-wrote the first funk tune with James Brown, Cold Sweat. Amazing alto saxophonist. He unfortunately passed away not too long ago, and he was one of my musical mentors. He was the artistic director of Kudu Records, the disco Esther Phillips Records. Think Pee Wee Ellis. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that people don't know about Pee Wee Ellis. Okay. Anyway, so Pee Wee Ellis is just an incredible human. He's done so much stuff since James Brown. He was part of the JB, but he bounced because James Brown was notoriously abusive. And he ended up moving to the UK and became a British citizen. And we were doing this tour on funk music. And one night I get this bad review from another concert that I had done. A jazz critic who, like, I don't understand. Dee Dee Bridgewater's daughter, the regular thing that I'm used to. Like, people always comparing me to my mom. It is what it is. They don't have any point of reference and they don't want to see me as my own self, and that's their loss. Sorry, goodbye. I'll shed one tear and they'll just be like, bye. I'm moving on. So I'm reading the article and Pee Wee was next to me. And I was just like, I can't believe this shit. And he was like, what? I was like, and I hand him over the article. He reads it. He was like, you should give him a call and invite him to the show. And I was just like, no. And he's like, you here, aren't you? He's like, where is he?
Behind his computer screen.
And I'm like, and then that just made me, it's like multiple times I've been with legends and they all say the same thing. You're here, aren't you? Like, it's happened so many times in my life. And with Pee Wee, I had co-created the repertoire, put together the band. I got Omar live folk on the gig with us because my dream was to hear Omar sing Brick House, which happened. You know, I was just like, I need for Omar to sing Brick House. That's all I need. She's a brick with his what? Oh my God, girl. It was. I was like doing Computer Love, Pee Wee Yellow.
Computer Love,
like,
wow.
This was so.
Okay.
Yo, girl, oh my gosh, it was a great, like, I must admit that I did wonderful work on that.
You did your thing.
I did my thing. The band sounded amazing, but multiple times I've been with around legends and going through an identity crisis or thinking that I'm not good enough or, I remember one night I was in Japan at the NHK Jazz Festival. It was the 70th anniversary of Blue Note Records. I'm there. They make me sing with like Benny Golson and some other jazz legends. They decide to do Night in Tunisia, but in its original key, which is way too high for me.
Okay.
And I didn't sound great. I sound like a cat in heat on a tin roof. Yeah. It was high. There were some off-key moments. I'm at breakfast the next day and beating myself up because I didn't fight enough for myself. I didn't fight enough these fucking musical legends and telling them, no, this is in the wrong fucking key for me to sing. I was really going over. I was really, really hurt. I was by myself in this gorgeous hotel, just like, I'm never going to work again. That was a moment that could have changed my career. Benny Golson walks by and he goes, girl, you sounded amazing. Okay, we could drop the key for you. I heard it was too high, but keep on doing what you're doing. You got the thing. You got the thing. And he just walked off.
See? People trust you.
Did the audience not applaud?
Right.
Did they care? No, actually. Maybe a few people would have been like, that wasn't great. But I still got to have the experience. I still went to karaoke that night. I still hung out with George Clinton. I still got to have see a beloved, incredible bass player who passed away not too long ago, Charlotte Moffett, singing that Bryan Adams tune, Everything I Do, I'll Do For You, in karaoke bar. Like he was a quiet dude. He was like, yeah, do it for. I still got to live these moments. And I still got to go to the Blue Note Tokyo after and perform my original compositions. Right. And some people who had come 5 years before to that, festival were like, we discovered you that night. We fell in love with your voice. They're showing up years later, so we got to be kind to ourselves a little bit. The most important part is that you just really got to choose what kind of human you want to be. That's it. What kind of life you want to live, what kind of reputation you would prefer to have, what you want to make people feel, remind you, Listen, at the NEA Jazz Masters Award ceremony, they had me come sing with this amazing all-woman big band, the Diva Big Band, and they were hell-bent. Jason Moran was hell-bent on me singing my mom's arrangement. Okay. Is that not a recipe for disaster?
Oh, gosh.
I tried to tell him that I had my own original music and I already had big band arrangements, and would it be possible if we could do one of my songs? And I think it would be more fitting. He was like, no, your mom, we have to do Ella, blah, blah, blah. So I pick an arrangement that I think I can do. My mom's ex-husband, Cecil Bridgewater, retransposes the arrangement so I can, in my key. I didn't sound great. I watched the video not too long ago, and I was like, it wasn't a train wreck, but you could definitely hear the train trying to halt. It was screeching.
Gotcha.
And this is at the Kennedy Center.
Oh gosh.
How many people in that room were like, oh, this is fucking nepotism?
Right. Exactly.
And even my mom got up and she was like, my baby's not a jazz singer, but she is amazing. She's an amazing singer, songwriter, and blah, blah, blah. My mom had to go to bat for me in her moment. Like the whole situation to me, in retrospect, totally fucked up. I should have fought Jason Moran hard. I didn't, because I was like, I can probably get, I'm not wing it, but it won't be horrible. It won't be great, but I can make it through.
But so,
and
so
am I still here?
And the opportunities are still there, but I can understand how heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching that would be to be able to sing at the Kennedy Center and not be, your hands are tied. You can't show up as the badass that you can if you had the right songs and the right keys.
Because everybody's always telling you to be ready for everything and stuff. Sometimes you're not in the right situation to be ready. You can be as ready as you want. The situation's not the right situation and you're going to fuck it up. And you know what? You're going to have to get over that. You're going to have to, like my mom said, get back up and do it. So not too long ago, maybe a month ago, I'm at the Rose Theater at Jazz at Lincoln Center with the New Orleans Jazz Orchestra. The only vocalist in a night of celebration of Black American artistry. So it was the Orrin Evans Captain Black Big Band versus the New Orleans Jazz Orchestra, which was an amazing night of music. It was so good. Battle of the big bands. It was amazing. And so the director of the New Orleans Jazz Orchestra, Adonis Rose, he's like, are you in town? Can you come and sing? He's like, we need a vocalist because Orrin Evans is about to hand it to us. He was like, we need to come with full ammunition. He's like, he's going to sing a song probably. So we need somebody. I was like, but you got cats who can sing in the band. He's like, yeah, we only have one woman in our band. Like in the whole big band, we have one homegirl on trumpet. He's like, I also need more representation because otherwise it's just going to be a night of dudes. And he's like, we're already failing, but I'm trying not to fail as hard. And I was like, okay, I appreciate it and everything. And so he was just like, Southern Nights, Alan Tucson. I was like, yeah. He's like, you think you can sing it? And I'm like, listen, that's like an institutional song. Like that's like Southern Night. I'm like, I think I can do it. He's like, yeah. And also you're singing What a Wonderful World. I was like, okay, yeah, just stab me. Just throw me to the critics already. Like, and it was Kennedy Center all over again in my head. Like I had a whole freak out. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go out there. People, they didn't mention my mom's name. So I have I've had a long enough career that people can actually know that my mom, they don't know who my parents are. They just take me for me, which is
gotta be nice.
Yeah. So but I've had the grace of time because I kept on getting up and doing it. Get back up and do it. So I go out and I must say, I think What a Wonderful World. I think I nailed it. I think I had a little moment. I didn't oversing. I didn't undersing. I served the melody. I served the story. I was elegant. I looked fly as fuck.
Always.
My outfit was, my outfit was giving, Genie, golden Genie just walked onto the stage, please. And I remember walking off the stage and thinking to myself, and it threw me back to Kennedy Center. And I was like, I'll get back to the Kennedy Center and I'll do it right. and I'll do it on my turn. So I had to learn, it took me years, but I had to learn that just because you messed up once doesn't mean that everything is over.
Right.
Doesn't mean that you're not good. You may not be one of those people who gets it right every single time that you perform, but it doesn't mean that you have a lesser value. It's always about trying to find where you excel. And I've had years to figure out where I excel. So that's something I don't get to talk about.
This is such a good conversation for up and coming singers, because they need to hear all of this. We don't hear this, especially from somebody of your stature, that's somebody that's done what you've done. We don't hear about the real insecurities or when things don't go the way we've planned them, how we deal with that. We only typically see, the accolades or, so I appreciate you so much for being such an open book. Now, I want to ask you this because I got to wrap this up soon, but
I know we could talk. We haven't spoken in so long.
We'll have to do this. We need to do this in person over a glass of wine. Thank you. Okay. Are you ever in the Bordeaux area?
Thank you. Listen, I was just thinking about it. I was like, am I coming to Bordeaux soon? No, it's going to be next year.
Well, make sure if you come to this area and you don't tell me about it, I'm going to get you. So here's what I would love. I would love for you to say, if there's one thing you could say to an up and coming singer that you think is absolutely important that they know, what would it be?
Listen back to yourself.
So you mean like recordings, videos?
All of it. Learn how to become your own editor. Learn how to look at what you're good at and what you're bad at. Learn how to distance yourself emotionally from the artists, especially if you're like in jazz and soul. It's like these are even pop. It's competitive. We are athletes. Do you think athletes don't watch their games back?
They absolutely do.
You don't think athletes don't watch other games with other athletes and comment the good, the bad, what they need to learn? Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Let me see if I can nail that. We're athletes. And nobody wants to say it like that. But literally, when you be out on this road traveling, your body will tell you how much of an athlete you need to be. You literally are an athlete. So learn to get over that as fast as possible.
Yes.
Because I still have moments where I have trouble watching back and listening back and being critical of myself. Knowing that just because you're critical of yourself doesn't mean that you're beating yourself down. You do have to take note. You do have to mess up. You do have to not be good to be better. It's like we do need cold to appreciate warm, and we need extreme heat to appreciate cold. Like we need
balance.
It's all a balance. So yeah, learn how to look at your art. There's your art, there's your sensitivity, and learn how to put it not to the side, but there's a moment for that and there's a moment for studying. Don't give up the studying. Be a forever student. Be forever, ever, ever student. I am 46 years old, been doing this since I was 16 professionally. There are things that I know how to do now that I didn't know how to do then. And there's things that I used to be able to do because I was young and cute and I had a few extra notes on top that I can't do. So now that I've had to learn other ways to do things, you're constantly evolving. So yeah. And then like my mom said, just get back up and do it.
And the last thing, I know you're busy, what is coming up for you that you got working next that you can talk about?
Oh, I mean, I just got concerts. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, I saw.
I keep on saying it's not a tour. It's not a tour. It's a lifestyle. Yeah. I'm a live artist. So I'm glad that I can do my art, you know. And I got a new album. I'll have new music out in the fall, videos and everything.
Okay.
I've worked with some incredible musicians, original compositions, and just I'm lucky to be able to find my tribe. Like I've started really finding people that I really enjoy creating with. And I enjoy creating with others. I am not a genius. I'm not a superstar. I'm not the best vocalist, but we out here and we having fun and bringing joy to people.
And we need that joy because times are crazy and
times are mentally crazy.
Really. And of course we can say that between as both being Americans and living in France, you know, the political climate is such that it's a little hostile for people that look like you and me.
Oh, that is a whole other conversation. But at the same time, we've been through this before. True. Our parents have been through it. Our grandparents really went through it. Great grandparents. Really.
Yeah. Yeah. But at least we have people like you out there.
We'll make it through.
Giving us something, giving us hope. Because I feel like art is humanity. I feel like as long as we continue to have art and artists, then there's hope for humanity. I think when
there's hope for humanity, there's hope for the truth.
When there's a breakdown in society to where we have no more art, that's when we're really in trouble, in my opinion. Oh my goodness.
No, we need art.
I could talk to you for absolutely ever.
Same, Monique. You're amazing. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you.
You're absolutely incredible.
Well, I appreciate you and I appreciate your time. And like I said, make sure that if you're in the area, you give me a call because I'll come and we'll bottle of wine in tow and we can have that discussion there as well.
Listen.
Thank you so much for being on the show today. I hope everybody's gonna get to just a peek into who you are as an incredible human being. I mean, like human being, artist, it's all together. This has just been such a wonderful conversation. I really appreciate you, China. I'll put everything that people can look at you in the show notes. They can see all your shows. I know you're booked up until I think at least March or April 2025.
November.
I saw.
Yeah, I got gigs coming in, and I got options.
You got gigs and
stuff that's like I got gigs. I'll be on this road, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm blessed and I'm grateful. I do not take it lightly. Like I don't take lightly the light that has been shown upon me.
And we're grateful to have you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Monique.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're really liking what I'm throwing down, you'll love my Mike Masters newsletter. For more information on how to work with me and to sign up for the newsletter, visit www.moniquebthomas.com. That's www.moniquebthomas.com. Musically, Monique.